Hey guys, welcome back to my channel for the second episode of how to play the blues on guitar. Today we're going to focus on the chords of the 12-bar blues. The chord progressions are a very important part of the blues because they will bring the melodic element to it. So usually with the 12-bar blues you need to learn only 3 chords. And no matter what key you're playing in, these 3 chords are always following the pattern 1, 4 and 5. So for example, if you're playing in the key of E, 1 will correspond to the root, which is E. 4 will correspond to the subdominant, which is A, and 5 will correspond to the dominant, which is B. So as we've seen in the first video, the chord progression for the 12-bar blues in the key of E is going to be E, A, and B. And this is also true for all the other keys you could think of. So first we're going to learn the chord progression in the key of E, which are the chords E, A, and B. So the specificity of the 12-bar blues is that you're not going to play major or minor chords like you usually do for other kinds of music. For example, you probably know E major. And E minor. But in the 12-bar blues, all the chords you're going to play are going to be 7. For example, E7, A7 and B7. So what does it mean? An octave is made out of 8 tones. So when we talk about the 7th, we're talking about the one note before the last. So the 7th note will always be 1 tone below the root. So for example, if you want to play an E7, you need to incorporate a tone below the E in your chord, which is in this case going to be a D. If you want to play an A7, you need to incorporate the G note into your chord. So the E7 is one of the simplest chords you could think of. So first you're going to put your middle finger on the 2nd fret of the A string like this, and then you're putting your index finger on the 1st fret of the G string like this. So it's exactly the same chord as an E major, except that you're not pushing with the ring finger. So this is how it sounds. So you have several ways of playing your chord rhythm. You could, for example, do this. Or if you want to bring some more rhythm to your chord progression, you could also play it like this. While playing the series of E7 chords, there is one variation that you could do once in a while, is to push with your pinky on the 3rd fret of the B string like this. Okay, that's it for the E7. Now the A7 is very simple as well. It's exactly like an E major. That would be like this. Except that you're not going to push with the middle finger. So it's basically just like this. So exactly like for the E7, you could play it this way. Or you could also play it this way. And if you want to add a bit of variation in your chord progression, you can also use your pinky and push on the 3rd fret of the last string like this. Okay, so now that we have the 2 first chords, we can already play at least half of the 12-bar blues. This is an example. And finally, we have only one chord missing, which is going to be the pattern 5, which corresponds to the B7. You're going to put your middle finger on the 2nd fret like this, then your index finger on the 1st fret like this, then your ring finger on the second fret of the next string, like this, and finally you can put your pinky on the second fret of the last string, like this. Okay, now there is only one thing that we're missing, as always, is to learn the turnaround. So here's a pretty cool turnaround that I like to do when I play this chord progression in the key of E. So in the first video I told you that in the 12 bar blues the turnaround would count as 2 bars, the 11th and the 12th bar, but once you play the chord progression like this with complete chords, you can also play a B7 during the 12th bar and it's gonna sound way nicer. Okay, now that we have all the chords, we can play the simple 12 bar blues with the pattern that we've seen during the first video, using E7, B7 and A7 chords. So as you can see, it's not as rhythmic as the boogie, but it's way more melodic because you are playing way more strings. And actually playing the boogie as well as this chord progression at the same time can sound very complementary. Okay, so the chord progression in the key of E was as simple as that. It's only 3 chords plus the turnaround. You can play it and repeat the 12 bar blues for as long as you want and it always sounds really nice. And if you want, you can also record yourself or use a looper and play a solo on top of these series of chords and it will sound really nice as well. So now we're going to leave the key of E and I'm going to show you the same chord progression in the key of A because I think the turnaround sounds particularly nice. So in order to play the 12 bar blues in the key of A, you already know 2 of the chords that we're going to need, which are the A7 as well as the E7. So in the key of A, if we want to follow the 1-4-5 pattern, A7 will correspond to position 1 and E7 will be position 5. So we need to learn the chord that corresponds to position 4 now. This chord is going to be the D7. In order to play a D7, you're going to put your middle finger on the second fret like this, your index finger on the first fret like this, and finally your ring finger on the second fret like this. And here is how it sounds. Okay, so now that we know how to do a D7, the only thing we need to learn is the turnaround in the key of A. You're going to play an A7 like this, then you're going to move 3 frets up with your fingers like this, and add your ring finger on the middle string like this. And then you're going to do the same thing, down 1 fret, and again down 1 fret, and then back to A7. So here is how it sounds. And of course, at the end of the turnaround, you always fall back on position 5, and in the key of A, this position 5 is going to be an E7 chord. Okay, so now we learned all the elements to play the 12 bar blues in the key of A, so let's play it completely. Okay, so now that we've seen how to play the chord progression in the key of E and the key of A, you can pick any key you want, look up the chords you're going to need to play the 1-4-5 positions, look at the turnaround that you want to play, and then you will be able to play the 12 bar blues in any key that you want. Okay guys, that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching this episode 2 of How to Play the Blues on Guitar. Soon I will be posting episode 3 that is going to be focused on the bass line and the lyrics of the blues. So if you want to stay tuned and get notified, you can subscribe to my channel up there. And in the meantime, you can practice your blues chord progressions in any key that you want. Thank you so much for watching. Bye bye.